Hello and welcome to Stitching Journal Club episode 5. I'm Beatrice and this is where I talk about cross stitch and any sciencey goodness I come across for the week. Welcome back. I want to thank everyone for all the love for Heart Sampler. I am still filled with just such a sense of accomplishment for it. I am going to wait to frame it though, just because I'm doing it myself and I ordered some equipment to help me with that. So that might take a while to come. And then I have to decide on a frame that I want, which I've been going back and forth about how I want to frame it. But it'll eventually get done because I need that to be on my wall where I can see it all the time. And also thank you for the love for Mr. Sir Frogworth Jones III, his backstory. Mama Witch X Stitch, her patterns are so lively and have so much personality that it wasn't hard at all to come up with a little story. So thank you for all who enjoyed that. And I don't know, maybe he'll have some little vignettes in the future. So that said, I know that I've been behind on comments for the week. Work was really busy. Not stressful, but just sort of busy, go all day. Then when I got home, I just wanted to veg out. And then I hurt my leg, bad enough that it really hurt. I couldn't really sit at the computer for too long and getting the up and down, so I was just on the couch for a long time. I'm on the mend, and here I am, so all that's looking up. That said, I will get to whatever comments I missed in the coming week. I did give a few little hearts here and there, so I did read the ones I saw. I want to thank everyone for leaving comments. I love comments and I love reading them, and I really appreciate the people who do leave them, especially since I personally am way too shy to comment on other people's videos myself. So I really appreciate those that do. So just get right into the stitching. So the first thing I worked on in this interval was The Pointed Fifth by Long Dog Samplers. I am on a new camera, and so my thread is looking really blue, but it's DMC 3808, which is more of a greenish blue. And so I got a lot of that boar done, and then down to the little bird down there. Going forward, I'll try to come down on this side and work on this major motif here. I really like this pattern and I love all the animals, but I've noticed that a lot of people do their long dogs in different color thread. So I've been toying with maybe adding another thread color in there. I'm not sure that I'm going to go through with it since I do have a cone of 3808 and so I need to use it all up. But that's something I might consider in the future. Maybe doing one or two small motifs in another color. We'll see how I feel when I get to it. So there's that one. Put that there. Next is this little start is called Landscape 07 by Noosa Creation Store on Etsy. This is a really beautiful sort of canal scene, very Mediterranean. I'm doing it on this yellow fabric because I've had it for a long time. I can never decide what to do on it. And I thought the yellow color went with the sort of vibes of this pattern. So I just randomly decided to do it. However, it's too small to do 2/2. So I decided, why not do it 1/1? Just because. And you can see that it's so tiny. It's so small. It's so little. I love it. The whole thing will fit into this Q-snap. So I'm not gonna move the Q-snap at all. This is gonna stay in the fabric. I mean, the fabric's gonna stay in the Q-snap until it's done. But it's so small. I love it. I love tiny things. And last but not least, in my convalescence, I have a little finish. This is Little White Rat from this book, Creepy Cross Stitch by Lindsay Swearingen. I love this book so much. I Oops. I basically changed all the colors because I refuse to stitch on black anymore. And I wanted to use this purple thread that's actually Dinky Dye silk. So I wanted to get stitching with that. And then I chose other colors just to go with the vibes. And I wasn't too confident about my abilities to choose colors, but I think it worked out really well. This is definitely more my vibe than these colors here. Not that that's not cute, but I think it worked out really well. And I like this little rat, I guess, because I had pet rats at some point a couple years ago, more than a couple years ago, and they were the most cuddly, most affectionate pets you can ever have. Even when they were old and didn't really want to move around too much, they were just so loving. So this little rat is an homage to them. So that's all the stitching I got done. Get this book out the way. But I wanted to talk a little bit about smalls in general. I thought that at the beginning of this year I was going to do a bunch of smalls. But that fell by the wayside because I became obsessed with Heart Sampler, and apparently I don't really like patterns that are less than 100 by 100 stitches, I guess. But I really liked choosing colors for this guy, and that's something you can do with smalls with it being less pressure, and then you have more options to really get creative with finishing your small patterns. So I'm definitely going to start doing that more often, and this book in particular is filled with little small patterns that are perfect to do that with, and they're just my vibe. Along with the rat, you have this dog, the Grim, you have little ghosties and cats in your rooms. You have all sorts in here. It's great. I really like this one. Welcome home. I have a ghostie and a dog. Or is that a ghost dog? Who knows? So I'll definitely work through this book. And then I also have a lot of magazine patterns that I saved and that I bought in PDF. So I'll work through those and definitely do more smalls. Right. Finally, I want to talk about samplers. Let me put that away. As you probably know, samplers are a very specific type of pattern. Historically, they were used to practice stitching as well as references for stitchers to use when they embroidered on other textiles and their clothes. A lot of them exist to this day, and several people do the painstaking work of recreating the samplers for modern stitchers to recreate. However, I'm not going to talk about any of those. Reproduction samplers, while beautiful, they're just not my thing. So this little segment is going to highlight the sampler charts that I have that are modern, that are fun, and that really bring something new and interesting to the genre. So let's get into it. Right, so first up is All Souls Band by Quiltify Designs. This is a band sampler with a bunch of skulls and spiders and owls and things. I really love this. This is probably one of the first samplers I bought. I have had it for a long time, but I haven't started on it because I cannot figure out what fabric to do it on. I'm going to stitch it in this really nice dark red color, but I keep going back and forth on whether or not I want to do it on a neutral, like white fabric like it shows here, or something else. I'm not stressed. I think when I know what the right fabric is, I'll know, and I'll start it whenever. Next is called A Halloween Bash. This is by Ship's Manor. This is another one where I just fell in love with it immediately. I love this big sun in the middle, and down the edge borders, those are actually eyeballs, which I can't get enough of. And it has just all sorts of monsters Halloween themed down the side. So here's that one. Next is the Silhouette's Quaker by Teresa Kogut. This is a really beautiful Quaker sampler with lots of Halloweeny motifs. I'm not going to do that on the orange fabric. I'll do it on maybe another purple fabric, but we'll see. Next is Little Alien Schoolgirl by Ink Circles. This has a whole backstory on her blog, but it's essentially what if an alien little girl did a little sampler. It's really unique and I love it, so can't wait to get started on that. Next is the Crypto Naturalist sampler by Screaming Heart Design. There's a poem in there. It has decorative borders. It's great. The now here in the middle, for some reason, reminds me of an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants that I can't get out of my head. So I don't know when I'm going to start this. It'll have to be when I can look at the sampler without thinking of SpongeBob. So we'll see. Next is called Sea Monster Sampler by Christie's Corner Needlework. She has a Flosstube actually. You should check her out. She's really cool. But she made the sampler because she found an alphabet that had 3 A's for some reason, and she couldn't figure out why. And so she made this really, really neat sampler. Next is Mushroom Sampler by White Raven Patterns. I love mushrooms. Like I always take a minute to look at mushrooms whenever I see them. So what's better than a mushroom sampler? Next is Princess Mononoke Sampler. This is a big one. It's bigger than my Long Dog sampler, I think. I think I'll start this sometime after I finish the Long Dog, but Princess Mononoke is one of my favorite movies, just in general. So this is really good. Next is Happy Halloween Band Sampler by Little Fox Stitching. It's just another cute Halloween band sampler. I have a couple of these, and they're just great to decorate your house for around Halloween. Next is Witch Hat Sampler by Flossy Fox Designs. This is another designer that I've been watching since they started putting out patterns. They have a very distinct style that just appeals to me. It just goes with my vibe, I guess. So I'll buy this one. This one actually has a companion sampler, which is Witch Hats and Familiars, just of a different sort. So you should check those out if this appeals to you. Next is Twilight Woods by the Wishing Thorn. She does reproduction samplers as well, but I really like her original designs. This is great. It has some specialty stitches, just a few, and I really like the Art Nouveau motifs. I like the alphabet there. It's just super beautiful. There's some beads in there too, so might change the colors a bit. It's a little bland. I'm sure you know by now I'm all about the blues and the teals and greens, so I'll be doing that soon. And last but not least is the Starfleet sampler. If you had guessed that I was a Star Trek fan before now, you would have been right. I saw this picture actually on a blog, and I had to hunt down the patterns because they're not really available. Well, they're available on Amazon. You can get the Kindle book, but it took me a while to figure out even where this came from. So I bought the Kindle book and looked at it, but you can't zoom in, and the picture is kind of small for my eyes. So I bought the physical book, and the book in here is better. There's the pattern in the book. I can see it a little bit better in the book, so I'll be doing that soon. And so yeah. Right, that is a selection of the sampler patterns that I have and that I plan to stitch. I have more than that, but I think those show a variety and the breadth of what you can do with sampler patterns. And I hope that some of you are inspired, and maybe you'll get some of these, or maybe you now have an idea of what to look for if you like samplers but don't want to go with the reproduction patterns, that maybe they're not your thing either. All right, last but not least, I don't have a journal club just because I've been out of commission, but I do have a recommendation. Today's recommendation is another PBS show called America Outdoors with Baratunde Thurston. It explores the relationship that people around this country have with the outdoors in ways that I haven't really seen before on TV. He talks to people who use the outdoors as merely for recreation, but also he talks to people whose relationship with the outdoors is more of that's the way they make their living, and then other people whose relationship with the outdoors is as a way to connect themselves with their history and their ancestors and the history of this country. It's a really good show. It's still airing. I don't think the first season is done yet on PBS, so maybe you'll be able to catch it. If not, it's online. That's how I watch it. So that's it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.